What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zebec today, ZBCN. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Shout out to the Zebecians and all the ZBCNers out there. Here we are on the 21st day of October, sitting at about $0.0037, 8 hours, 44 minutes left in the day. And it's looking like I might be wrong, you guys. I might be proven wrong here. And I want to go over my thoughts, my closing statements from yesterday's video. Let's go over the low to high here. Okay, from a low point. Yep, that was not the low point. To be fair, that's actually not even the high point. But we're going to take this high, not the fake out high, right? The high of the move, not the fake out high, not the high of the consolidation phase, the high of the move. Anyways, low to high, the expectation has been on and off again for quite a while, actually, that we would go down to about 0.0033 to 0.0309, somewhere in this area here, okay? And I gave two criteria to invalidate that thought, okay? First and foremost, to validate this thought, just move up. Just do that instead. The second idea was if we had a fake out, something that went just below this level here, something just below that low, which is exactly what we got, actually, just below that low there. A fake out with a proper reaction, and I would say the bounce that we're having here is significant. Bitcoin itself is having a significant move as well, right? We expected this to happen. That was a very massive 1 hour candle there. They must like what's going on with this Federal Reserve conference right now. Something's being said. You know, for me, it's 9:16 in the morning right now. So they've had their opening remarks. I guess they really haven't talked. This is is it Eastern time though? In which case they have had their opening remarks. I don't know. Anyways, there must be some positive stuff being said here because Bitcoin's having a positive reaction all at the same time. ZBCN is also getting a lift off of this, right? We can see over the past couple hours we've moved up. And this reaction that we're having is exactly what we need, in my opinion, to invalidate my theory that we're going down to 0.0033. Now, I want to be clear before we get too much further in this video, it's still completely possible to go down to this level. And if ZBCN makes its way down there, cool. It's going to go up afterwards. It's not a big deal, okay? But it's starting to look like this was a fake out. This was an attempt down, and we said nope, not happening. We are too bullish. It's not going to happen, sir. And especially with Bitcoin looking the way it does, I can't imagine that we would go too much lower, right? On this chart, I feel like it looks even more like a fake out, right? We didn't go below this level here, to be completely fair, but we broke out of this here. It really does look like a fake out. 1 hour time frame. Zooming in here. A lot of volume at the lows, but we didn't go anywhere, did we? Right? Whenever you get a lot of volume at the lows, but you're not going anywhere, that actually suggests that there's some buying pressure, right? Where here you had a lot of volume at the highs, and you're going somewhere, right? You got a lot of volume down here at the lows, but you didn't really go anywhere there either, so you started to kind of turn things around. 1 hour time frame here, looking at the RSI, very bearish on the 1 hour RSI. However, there is some things to talk about that are bullish, that have bullish connotations, right? Which is this here. We've got a lower high kind of dynamic here that we've broken out of. Okay, we've broken out of our downtrend, lower highs, lower lows, that whole shebang there. Rejected the 50, found support at the 40, now we're moving up. I think that we're going to continue to move up. That's my expectation here. 41 minutes left. Let's just see how this goes. You know, this hour started off with a bang, but now it's coming back down, and that's okay. You know, again, looking at this here, what are they talking about? Bridging traditional finance with digital asset ecosystem. What they're talking about here might have some kind of influence on ZBCN, and there's possibility that it could be negative as well. So again, if we see negative influence coming out from this, if that impacts the price negatively and we do move down to 0.0033 or 0.0031, whatever, down in that area, it's not a big deal. Don't panic. We're going to come back up, okay? It's really not a big deal, but I'm not expecting that, at least as of now. 1 hour time frame, RSI is breaking out, making me think you want to go higher. Stochastics look like they want to go higher as well. The MACD is irrelevant, whatever. 4 hour time frame here. And I'm not just saying that the MACD is irrelevant, whatever, because it's down, because it's red. It just crossed green. If I really wanted to make a mountain out of a molehill, I could focus on that. But the reality is this is the 1 hour time frame. It's irrelevant. We've been moving sideways. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter, okay? I can tell when it's relevant, whenever it's not relevant. It's not really relevant here. If anything, there is some bullish divergence here, and we are making a play off of that, but who cares? It's, you know, I could spin this in a good way if I wanted to, but I don't. It's the 1 hour. It's irrelevant. We're spending too much time talking about it anyways. 4 hour time frame here. Looking at the RSI, you've really been ping-ponging between this 60 and 40 area at large. Really, you have been in this area here. Coming down a little bit lower. Overall, a very neutral posturing. Hopefully we do hold support here and that we do move higher. I would like us to get above the 60 and even get overbought here. With the idea of this 4-hour time frame getting overbought, I want to propose time in this thought as well, right? So you're probably not going to this 4-hour candle move all the way up here. Probably not even the next one or the next one. You're probably going to take some time to move up there. And right here, right now, it's Tuesday. This would, you know, maybe at this trajectory here, I'm just going for an arbitrary trajectory here, maybe it takes longer. This will put us out on Friday of this week, if not maybe even sometime next week, that we're in the overbought zone, right? So the reason why we're focusing on that is thinking forward, regardless of what ZBCN does here, whenever we get in the overbought zone, that's typically when the magic happens. So right now, I would assume we're still figuring ourselves out. We're not looking to necessarily break out of this range just yet. Maybe not even by the end of the week will we be breaking out of this range, but sometime by the end of the month, going into what I would assume the 29th will bring prosperity for the whole crypto markets here. Going into the 29th, I would assume that not only are we breaking out of this range, but we're probably moving higher up to our 005 area and beyond. I really wouldn't be surprised, depending on the path that ZBCN takes. You know, we can move higher, we can move up less high, we can move up less high. I can't imagine that we would move at any pace that's like lower than this. I would very much expect that between now and the next week or so, we do see prices at 0046. That's what I'm gathering from this RSI right now, right? Just thinking about when we're going to get into that overbought zone and timing that up with the 29th, where the Federal Reserve announces they're going to be cutting interest rates. It just makes sense, I think, that we're going to see a breakout of this overall range sometime between now and the end of the week, or maybe I should even say sometime between now and next week, but probably not over the coming days. Probably not today or tomorrow, right? MACD, bearish at the moment, but whatever, who cares? It's not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. Stochastics look bullish. You got a RSI that's set up, I think, to move higher, okay? You've got a stochastics that's bouncing off the oversold zone. That's bullish in itself, set up to move higher as well. 4-hour time frame implies bullish days to come, right? And once we get overbought in the stochastics and in the RSI, that's when the most bullish comes. So the next couple of days might move up, but the days after the next couple of days are the ones to look forward to. Does that make sense? And it might even be sometime next week. It might not even be by the end of this week. But there are good things on the horizon that have yet to come. That's what foresight would tell us. Daily time frame here, looking at the RSI, we're at the same areas that we found support largely really throughout this whole year. We typically do find support right here at the 40, so this is a perfect area to bounce. If we close the day here in 8 hours, great. If we move up and close the day green, great, whatever, I don't care. Stochastics, same thing, they're at a great area to bounce here at the 50, and the MACD crossing below the 0 sucks, but again, the MACD is kind of irrelevant, guys. Whenever you move sideways like this, it loses its relevance. You know, for example, here, you rejected the 0. You did move down, but you didn't get lower lows. You actually ended up moving higher, right? If you sold this, you would have put yourself in a position to FOMO the top. If you bought whenever we crossed above the 0 here, you bought the top. If you sell whenever we cross below the 0 here, you're probably selling the low as well. That'd be my guess. And even if I'm wrong, even if this isn't the low, let's say you go down here again to 0033 to 0031, you're still going to recover very, very fast, right? It's not going to matter. It's irrelevant. But all in all, I would say more bullish implications on these daily indicators. I don't care about the MACD, who cares, whatever. If anything, you're also at a place to bounce on the MACD as well, but it kind of does look bearish at the moment. But these two indicators look bullish. I can't imagine Zebec going lower, especially with Bitcoin moving up like it is right now. So looking at the weekly time frame here, you guys, things are relatively neutral, bullishly postured overall. We actually do have bullish divergence right now on the MACD technically, but I don't really care. The MACD on the weekly has also lost some of its relevance, but I would say overall we've cooled down on all of our indicators and we're ready to rally. Zebec right now, like a lot of altcoins, is in this consolidation phase that it's been in now for quite some time, for over a quarter of a year, over maybe even at this point, let's see, June, July, August, September, October, almost a half year. Long time consolidating in this area. You're soon to break out, and when you break out, you're going to get a continued move in respects to what we saw here. I very much anticipate that we're going to see something that takes us above 3 cents. And again, we take this here from a high to a low. Okay, high to a low there. We measure our last move, which the move started at the low. Not always do the moves start at the low, right? Not always do they start at the low, right? Like if I was measuring this move here from a low to a high, I wouldn't measure it from this low back here. That was the low, but you know what I mean? Or if I was measuring this move here, I would measure from this low to this high, but even though that was the low, right? This is not the overall move. One could argue that yes, that you kept moving up higher, but I would say this is the move. I'm being specific because it's a specific thing that we're doing here. I'm not going to say that the move started from this low here, okay? That doesn't seem right to me. That seems like a scam wick. That's not the move, right? It's not. Sometimes the low is where the move starts, but sometimes it isn't. And this is one of those moments. I think in reality, we're in some kind of triangle right here, and the move will start roughly from where we are here, right? This is where I would measure the move. What I'm trying to get to is I think this next move that we're going to see is bigger than the last move. It will be bigger than the last move. That's my expectation. We line that up with our fibs. We put it at the current price. I'm even a little bit below the current price to be conservative, and that takes us above 3 cents. I expect this move to be smaller than the move that we are about to see, right? We are pressurized, we're built, we're only fundamentally stronger now than we were back here. There's more attention on you. People have had time to invest. The weak hands have had time to sell out. The strong hands have had time to get in, and the supply is drying up. I wouldn't imagine that this thing stops at anything less than 3 cents. If you stop at 2 cents, fine. That's fine. Guess what? You did that last time. You went from a high here to a low here, and you stopped just at your 200.1886 level right here, these two purple lines, right? I'll delete it so it's easier to see. You see right there. So could you stop at these purple lines? Sure. Sometimes you do respect the fibs. There's some serendipity there. Sometimes that happens. But again, that conflicts with my idea that we see a bigger move. Right? And I have a lot of reasons to believe that we'll see a bigger move. Right? We're about to see the most bullish phase of crypto start. I can't imagine that you see a weaker move than this move. It'll be stronger. So again, 3 cents is child's play. Really, what I think we're shaping up for Zebec is a 4.5 to 7.7 cent price. What kind of alternate reality did we shift to where at one point in time throughout this range, the maximum target for me was 4.5 cents? Now it's the minimum target, right? That's the reality we're living in, is that ZBCN, the maximum target has become the minimum. It's my minimum expectation. Like the true minimum is 3 cents, right? But the maximum expectation is 4.4 cents. Sorry, the minimum for me. The maximum is now 7.7. I thoroughly believe that between now and the end of November, we will ignite this move and be well on our way to something that takes us to about a 12x overall, to something that's on the lines of a 20x, 12 to 20x move overall. And if we're not here at 4.5 cents or higher by the end of November, then into the end of the year, into the end of December. But this move will likely not stop until we're up in this area. Now, just because I expect it to be a bigger move, does that mean that it's going to move at the same pace? Maybe. This was 5 weeks. It took 5 weeks to make this move. Maybe 5 weeks from now we're up there, and maybe it is by the end of November that we're up there, or maybe it takes 10 weeks. Maybe it's a slower move, but a bigger move overall, right? More consistent overall. And that's okay, right? There will probably be turbulence along the way. Again, we remember this, and I want to prepare you guys. This right here, I'm priming my mind and your mind for what's to come, because it's important. This is a game of psychological warfare. It's important to understand what you're dealing with, okay? We remember this. Right now, we remember this as a straight line up. All you had to do was buy and hold. That was it. And then you made money, right? It's that simple. But it's not at the same time, right? Because we forget that whenever we look at this a little bit more deeply, a little bit more in depth. There was a time where from a high to a low, you dropped 26% in 2 days. You dropped 26%. If you had $100,000 in ZBCN, you watched it go almost to $70,000. Where we saw from a high to a low in the same day, you dropped 21%. We saw from a high to a low the next day, you dropped 21%. 2 days later, overall, you dropped 42%. 100 grand went to less than 60 grand, right? In a less than a week span. You saw, before you saw your actual peak, from a high to a low, you had 2 shakeouts back to back. One that dropped 33%. We didn't bite that one. This one, I got bearish at the low, because I thought that was it. I thought we had the bearish engulfing candle, everything. And if you bit that, you missed on the top opportunity. Now, even if you sold here, if you waited patiently, I was very confident the price would come down. I got a lot of hate for that, but we were still waiting patiently. You still could have made a play. Even if you did this wrong, you still could have made a play that got you back in at a better price, right, if you played the game. But the reality of the situation is, look at all these attempts to shake you out. There was 5 of them. 5 of them that we measured. There's probably more than that on a 4-hour basis that were over 20% drops in like a day period or less than a week period, okay? As big as a 42% drop. When we move up here to these target areas all the way up to 4.5 cents and beyond, right? When we're up in this zone, it's not going to be a straight line. We remember it like it was so easy, but it wasn't easy, was it? There were multiple moments where you were tested, right? And I use 100 grand, not because everybody's investing 100 grand in this thing, but because I feel like that makes it out to be a larger number. It shows the deficits that you saw, right? It's the same thing for $1,000 or $100, whatever. But Nobody's going to throw a fit over a $60 loss, right, or a $40 loss. Anyways, maybe not everybody would, but some people might. But all I'm trying to say here is there will be volatility along the way. If you want to, that the map is laid out. We've got the map. We have the schematics. We know what we're doing. We're going all the way up to 3 cents at a bare bones minimum to 7.7 cents at a maximum. The reason why we're talking about this is because there will be volatility along the way. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And the way that you don't mess it up is by buying here, holding, looking away from the chart, not giving a damn what it's saying, what it's doing, until we're up in this area, until we're up above 4.5 cents. And then at that point, you can start trying to play the game. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. That's just my thoughts. But I got nothing else. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I am going to check in on this stuff. I'm curious as to what's going on here. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.